Hey, hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. Hey, today I want to talk about something that I've been reading a lot lately, and a lot that's been coming up in these different books that I'm reading is positivity. And I titled this episode, Positivity is the Key, because the more and more that I've been reading about it, it is the key to a happy, joyful, successful life, I think. And I know that sounds a little bit too easy, but it's amazing what I've been reading lately. So there'll be a lot coming up on positivity, but today I want to talk about specifically what I read in a book by John Gordon, Jon Gordon, and the book was The Energy Bus. And I'll tell you, it was great, great book. And I wanted to share just a couple of points that really got me thinking. And I'm not quite finished with the book yet, but so far this is what I really have has really grabbed my attention. First of all, positivity or negativity. Did you know that it's a choice? It's a choice that we make. Do you want to be positive or do you want to be negative? And I know most of us are going to answer that right off the bat. Well, I want to be positive. But ask yourself, are you positive or are you negative? Because I got thinking about this and man, I had a lot of negativity going on. And I was like, what in the world is going on here? I never really realized how much negative thoughts I had or how many negative thoughts I had until I really started tracking them. Another point is John brought up this equation that he came up with. And his equation is E plus P equals O. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I've shared in the past this E plus R equals O. Now, the E plus R equals O, I learned it from one of my good friends, Kent Julian, which he learned it from the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. Jack Canfield is the original one who came up with the E plus R equals O. Now, E plus R equals O stands for the events in our life plus the R, our response to the events equals the outcome. So E plus R equals O. The events plus our response equals the outcome. And basically, the whole idea of this E plus R equals O is we control our response. So if a good or bad event, it doesn't matter, whatever the event is that happens in our life, we control the outcome. We have a lot of say of how the outcome is going to impact us because we control the response. If we have something very bad happen, are we just going to go into, that depressed mode or just get a bad negative attitude and just say, screw it, this stuff always happens to me? Or are we going to say, you know what? That was really unfortunate, but there's positivity that can be seen in this. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find it and I'm going to keep looking until I do. Now, John Gordon's equation is E plus P equals O. It's a very similar concept of the E plus R equals O. The E still equals the events. The P in John's equation stands for perspective or positivity. All right, so you can either go perspective or positively equals O, the outcome. So let's talk about that one. The events in our life plus our perspective of what's going on, because we all have different perspectives. If you think about it, nobody else in this entire world has your exact perspective on things that are going on. And I'm talking nobody, because nobody has walked in your shoes your entire life. So you have experienced something unique all throughout your life that nobody else has. And all of those experiences that you have had over your life goes into your perspective. So the events in your life plus your perspective, how do you see this? How do you process all of this is going to equal the outcome. Again, very much like E plus R equals O. Now, the events plus positivity equals the outcome. Again, a whole new perspective of just simply the events in our life equals the outcome. Because a lot of people are living in that equation. They just think, the events that happened in my life, there's nothing I can do about it. That happened, therefore the outcome was this. Well, guess what? We can have some kind of control over that outcome based on our R, our response, or our P, either our perspective or the positivity that we put to that event. So that was one thing that really stood out. And, John goes on and talks about how we need to feed our positivity because that's our choice. Are we going to feed our positivity or are we going to feed our negativity? Because unfortunately, a lot of us choose to go negative right off the bat. We see something and we start being critical. A coach that I'm working with now, Justin Janikowski, very good. He does Christian coaching he does coaching for Christian coaching businesses. Basically, he told us, be curious first, not critical. And I try to approach every conversation that I'm having with this now. Matter of fact, on the top of my note pages, I have in big red letters, be curious. I take notes on my iPad. Every time I sit down and take notes, the first thing I do is write in big red letters up top, be curious. Because when I'm talking to other people, especially as a coach, it's my job to be curious and ask a lot of questions. Because as a coach, I know that all of my clients have the answers inside them. And as an effective coach, I have to be able to pull that out of them. Just like you, for instance, if you were coming to me as a coaching client with a challenge or an issue or a leadership issue, transitioning from the military, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions to get you to think about what that answer is. Because 9 times out of 10, the answer is within us. It's just we haven't asked ourselves the right questions to bring out that answer. So John talks about feeding the positivity, and he has a story about a positive dog. And that story really reminded me of a story I used to tell back when I used to teach at the NCO Academy. And that was the eagle and the wolf story. And I got a big picture right on my wall here. And on the back of that is the story, but the picture has a picture of an eagle. And in the background, there's this wolf, a big gray wolf. And as the story goes, it basically says that the eagle is all that's good in you, and it says the wolf is all the stuff that's not so good in you, maybe the negativity. And it asks that, or it says that we both have this eagle and wolf inside of us, but the one that wins the battle is the one that you feed the most. So if you're feeding that eagle, your positivity is going to come out more. If you're feeding that wolf, negativity is going to come out. So which one are you going to feed? Ask yourself that. Are you feeding the negativity in your life or are you feeding the positivity? Another thing that John talks about is to choose to feed the positivity. And you could do this by hanging around positive people. You can look for the good in whatever the situation is, no matter what it is, no matter what the situation is. There's got to be some kind of good that you're going to get out of it. If you fail at something, are you giving up? Well, I hope not. Because if you fail at something, failure is just a part of the success road. You're gonna fail. So just accept it. And instead of just quitting or just going on, really study that failure. Ask yourself, why did this fail? What do I have to do differently? And then attack it again, applying what you've learned. John also says that you can encourage others. Encouraging others has an amazing impact on us because when we encourage others, man, it's like we encourage ourselves. And when we encourage others, you can see the light bulb come on in them. You could just see, their shoulders might be sagging, and all of a sudden we come along and we encourage them a little bit, and man, you could see them just sit up a little bit taller in their chair. You could see them just stand a little bit taller, maybe even shake their shoulders around a little bit, and get that smile. And when I see that in somebody after I've encouraged them, man, it makes me feel really good. And there's not much negativity that I'm thinking about in that moment. Matter of fact, there's nothing but positivity that I'm thinking about. So encourage other people. And also, in the same realm of encouraging other people, help people be better. That's a part of our mission statement now is we help people be the best leader that they can be. We want to help people be the best person they can be. So we want people to lead from their best selves. And my best self and my leadership style is going to be different from yours because we are all uniquely different. And that's where I think a lot of leadership programs and leadership coaching, not necessarily coaching, but a lot of leadership programs and training fails to admit and fails to recognize that every leader is different. And the best in every leader is different. So here at the CLC team, we try to let you and enable you to lead from your best self and live your best life. So bottom line is, start starving that wolf in your life. Start starving that negativity. Stop watching negative stuff on TV. Man, for me, that meant cutting out all news and all politics. I just don't want to watch it. I don't want to hear about it because you think about it. And I'm talking, not necessarily the local news, though even the local news is kind of depressing at times because the first things they hit on is the bad stuff, right? This person got murdered or this person got robbed or, all the bad stuff because the bad stuff is what sells. People want to hear that. Well, I don't listen to it, especially the major news channels, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all those. I don't want to listen to it because they thrive on the negativity. And politics, forget about that. Politics, even if you're watching a debate, either a Democrat or Republican debate, all they're doing is griping and throwing out negative stuff about the other person. When are politics going to stand up and let their own character speak for itself? They can do that if their actions are reflecting a good character. I think when politicians, when they have to bash on somebody else, I think what they're doing is saying, hey, you know what? I don't have enough actions in my character to really tell you all about my good stuff. So I'm going to make my opponent look bad. What is that all about? That's negativity. They thrive on that. They thrive on trying to get you to hate other people. And I'm done with it. I don't listen. And people ask me, well, what do you mean you don't listen to the news? You don't know what's going on and this and that? You know what? I don't need to know the breaking news that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are dating or that they went to some party. I don't have to know all this news about, such and such and a movie and this. If it's important, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to find it and it's going to pop up on my on a headline or something on my Alexa show. But I don't need to watch it. I don't need to waste my time because all it's doing is feeding that wolf inside me. It's feeding that negativity. And I want to say goodbye to that negativity. And another thing that we need to stop doing is we need to stop talking to ourselves negatively. And I'm telling you, we talk to ourselves more than anybody else. And unfortunately, we are our own biggest critic. You've heard of that, right? We're our own biggest critic. That's so true. Everything that we do, we're critical of ourselves. So I've turned a new leaf. And instead of saying that, man, I am being positive. It's funny because Jen's got me writing down this I love me kind of journal in my iPad, all right? And basically there's a couple of lists that I got going. First one is what I learned about myself today. I got to write that down. And the other one is she's making me make a list of 200 things that I love about myself. And I'll tell you what, I'm struggling, but I'm up to 122. And it's amazing all the good stuff that you find in yourself when you really start thinking about it. So, that might be a challenge for you. Start writing every day. Try to write 200 things that you love about yourself because we can't love others if we don't love ourselves. So just think about that. If you have a lot of hatred and negativity in you that's coming out of you, maybe it's because you don't love yourself. And you know what? You're worthy of being loved. And that love needs to start by yourself. You need to love yourself. So, I think that's about it for today. Man, I've been going long on these podcasts lately, and I hope you don't mind. I hope you enjoy it. If it is a little bit too long, watch it in a couple different settings. Watch it on the drive to work and maybe on the drive home or something. But bottom line here to yourself or about today is shut down the negative talk. Shut down the negative self-talk. Be positive. And again, a lot of this stuff was inspired by the book, The Energy Bus by Jon Gordon, Jongordon. And Jon is a big-time coach, leadership coach, and team coach. He works with a lot of professional teams and professional coaches. So highly recommend you get this Energy Bus book. And I'm actually I have like 5 of his books on Audible now. So I'll be listening to a lot of them. And man, I'm going to start being more intentional about what I read, what I watch, especially what I read, and especially the way I'm talking to myself, and especially who I'm feeding. And I'm going to start feeding that eagle because I want nothing but positive vibes coming out of this podcast. Hey, that's it for today. I hope I see you back again tomorrow because tomorrow I got another special show for you. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about exercising a special muscle in your body, a very special muscle. So I hope to see you then. Until tomorrow, run to your challenges. We'll see you.